Hi everyone, my name is Ricardo Pires. I'm the product manager for RightBack, and I'll be conducting this webinar. This will be a product walkthrough, and we'll also focus on the new features from version 3.0. I've seen that we have a couple of existing customers mixed with new organizations that want to use RightBack. I'm sure it will be interesting for both. Okay, I'll now be switching to the presentation. So before we go to the demo, just some context. So we all know that Tableau is really good regarding data exploration, data analysis. I'm sure that we are all Tableau fans. But the fact is, when it comes to processes where we need to make some input, provide some feedback, and we have many examples, like I want to replace a value or make a note associated with a particular mark or a comment. And maybe I want to do some forecasting or even root cause analysis and make a qualitative analysis. All these things are hard to do on Tableau. And we end up having to choose between either using an Excel spreadsheet that we can type in the data, but that isn't really a good experience. We need to go to a separate tool, and we get the flexibility from Excel, but we lose a bit of control. You know, people can override each other's data, they can delete files, so it's not really secure. Another alternative is either with custom coding or with a different application. Use that to type in the values and to submit the information. But while that provides extra security and insurance that people will do it correctly, we lose the flexibility. And that's exactly to cover both these options, which neither of them is good, that we have created RightBack. So what if we could write data straight from our Tableau dashboards? Wouldn't it be great? And that's exactly what you get with RightBack. You can stay in the flow even if you have an actionable process, and that means that you don't have to leave your dashboard. Inside your dashboard, you can have different types of UIs adapted to your use case that the users can leverage to place the feedback, provide the inputs, and then see them immediately. And it's applicable both to the configuration as well as to the viewer. So we want to have a great experience for both. Besides that, it's an enterprise-grade product. So it means that it all runs on your infrastructure, it's your database, so security is very important. We have multiple ways of authentication, audit, all those things are built in on the product. And finally, and this is something that it has improved a lot with version 3.0, is that it became a lot easier to set up and maintain because we have created RightBack Manager that enables you to do that. I think that more important than stating here all the features is to actually see it in action. So what I've done for this webinar is to prepare a demo that is going to be divided in 3 stages. We are first going to look into a viewer perspective and understand how he can interact with RightBack, then see how we can configure it as a creator on our desktops. And finally, we'll also have a close look on RightBack Manager and see how easy it is to administer and configure this solution. So let's see it in action on the server as a viewer. So what I have done is I've made this available on Tableau Online, but I could have used the Tableau server on my installation on-prem. And let's take a look on how a viewer can interact with the tool. So I'm opening the Update Existing Data dashboard. This is the dashboard that I end up using a lot, because what happened is that we found out that some of the sales value were not 100% accurate. This isn't the ideal solution, but it happened. So we created this dashboard where we can list the products. And for each product, we have the total quantity, profit, sales. And I can actually take a look and see if I want to fix any of these values. And the great thing is that this is also combined with other visualizations that give me additional context. And here, it's great for me because with writeback, I can click on a mark and then go for the writeback form, and I can actually replace the values. So in this case, I see a quantity of 2, but I want to have 5. And I know that the profit was a little bit higher, and as well as the sales. So here, I can submit the data on writeback, and the table gets immediately updated. So for me, it's really good because not only can I type in the values, but I also get immediate feedback on whether the value has been updated or not. And I get to see immediately the figures. So even here on this other visualization, I have that information immediately available. So great to do some fixing on the values. If you have a simple form, makes it really easy to type in and get that additional feedback. Now let's take a look. This is a different use case. Here, what I typically do is forecast for a particular country. So we had this need of cross-referencing existing data with the forecasted data, and we wanted to combine this on a single visualization. And the process for submitting the forecast was kind of hard because we needed to submit per country, and it made it very difficult to make sure that everybody was synchronized and submitting on the same format. With writeback, it's much easier for us. I can select the country, and I can click on the writeback button, and I get the nice table where I can type in the values. I also have a form which allows me to place some context together with the forecast, and I can start typing in the values. In this case, I'm forecasting for sales costs, and that's what's going to drive the margin. Okay. And I can also place here what's the expected discount. And the nice thing is I can even go to an Excel spreadsheet, provided that it has the same structure. I can copy and paste. So it's really easy to submit the information, and I'm 100% sure that I'm going to submit in an accurate format because writeback is ensuring that and making sure that I only provide numbers. What happens is once I click on edit, and let me get back to the dashboard, we'll see the dashboard updating the figures immediately. So you can see that the margin forecast was changed as well as the charts. It makes it really interesting because we can have a complex UI where you have to submit a lot of figures, but in a consistent way. And it makes it really easy to combine all the countries because everybody is submitting on the same format. Another example that we have is for placing comments. So we have here a dashboard that is filtered by year and quarter. And the goal in here was not to change any values, was just to make an analysis on what's happening and allow people to visualize the comments immediately. Here, we basically can choose, maybe I'm going to choose Q4. And that's the interesting thing because the comments are associated with a particular quarter. So whenever I change, I get to see the specific comments for this quarter. So now I can actually go and click on write back, on add the comment, and I just have to type in, I'm just copy pasting, and I can actually submit a new comment. So I had in here already saying that we had shipped 29% late, but at the same time, we ended up shipping more than 50% sooner. So in the end, it's good enough, okay? So what happened in here is that I submitted a comment and I got here the bullet. So I can quickly go here and remove this. So I can easily edit any existing data that I have submitted. And also I can potentially delete an existing comment. It's really up to me to decide. So with this UI for the comments, it means that I can submit multiple entries without closing the window. And every time I want, I can always close the window, click on the dashboard, refresh, and I get to see the comments updated. So for this dashboard, I think that this approach is better because it really allows me to make additional comments, because most of the times we want to do more than one, and I don't have to keep clicking and going backwards and forwards. I can just use it directly. It's really good for me. The final use case that we have implemented is basically focused on one of the important things that we want to analyze is whenever there is some deviation on profit, whether it's too big or too low for what we expected. And I wanted to highlight on this dashboard, and that's what these bars are about. And Tableau is really good on this because we can highlight the bars with calculated fields and filter and focus. Whenever I open this dashboard, I'm really focused on what the bars tell me. And I can also check the countries to see which are the countries that we have already provided an explanation. So in this case, I don't have to worry about Sweden or Germany because it's already submitted. I can focus on France and Spain. So I'm going to log in on WritePack. This happens because we don't have the single sign-on activated, so I have to log in. And now I can select Spain, and I can specify what is a likely root cause for the higher profit. In this particular case, I know exactly what it was. This was a factory that was opened recently, so we start producing more, and we actually increase the profit. So I can click on Add Root Cause. And this means that I can not only make a qualitative analysis and have the dashboard guiding me on that and showing me the figures, but I can also make a qualitative analysis which might not be available on any numbers. So imagine there was the month from Christmas, we got some impact based on that. And it was something that we couldn't determine directly from the numbers. So I'm going to explain here that this was actually a new factory. It started production back in January. This is an internal event type, so it wasn't something external. And the thing is, I know that this is the likely root cause for these things. So I could specify another option, but I believe that it's this one. And what means when I choose the likely root cause, it's interesting because the form changes and we get additional fields. And that, for me, that's really important because I know whenever it's mandatory to submit the impact, It's only when the likely root cause is identified. And I can also make the analysis with new factory with latest product. I'm not sure if you noticed, but this was done together with another team. And one of their requirements was that we would have the look and feel, the colors a little bit different on this particular dashboard. So this is something that WriteBack also supports. We can define per site. We can define a custom theme and have perhaps a different logo and adjust the colors accordingly. So this really enables to integrate on your environment. And even if you have a multi-tenant solution, WriteBack can do that. So following up, once I submit this information, we can see that once the dashboard is updated, Spain is going to change the shape from the red diamond to the green, saying that we have cleared another justification for this. And again, this makes it really visual, and we can always check what is happening. I'm not sure why Tableau is taking a little bit to reload. Just going to do a manual reload. I'm using Tableau Online connected with our live environment on Azure. So this is the toughest environment for a demo, but I wanted to show it on Tableau Online. We have some inquiries about it, and I just wanted to show it. Okay, so with this, we have covered different use cases. And as a viewer on the server, bear in mind that these are just examples, and you can already see how this can improve the productivity for a particular user across different scenarios, and how much he can stay on the flow and keep building things on top of Tableau. That is an amazing tool. So now, you are thinking, he's done this nice demo. We have seen how easy it is for the viewers to interact with WriteBack, but is it really easy to configure? How dynamic is it, So now what we are going to do is I'm going to open Tableau on desktop, and now I'm going to be a dashboard creator that is setting up a new dashboard with WriteBack, so that the users, the viewers, can leverage it once published to the server. So let me go to Tableau. Okay, so I have in here a normal dashboard with sales information, which has some details by product on top, and then below we have a table that contains information by month, region, and category. So in order to add WriteBack to any of your dashboards, all you have to do is to drag the extension component to the right place and choose a TRX file. This TRX file is provided, so you should talk with your WriteBack administrator. He should give you a TRX file, and this is going to reference basically where WriteBack is. So once we accept, and by the way, in this case, I'm running everything locally. Okay, so once we accept, we get to log in on WriteBack. This is important. We are going to see afterwards. We keep an audit for everything that it's done. So it's really important that you are always logged in, because this will allow to have that information always precise. So what I'm going to do now is let me choose the right sheet. So my end goal is to basically be able to replace values here on this table. Okay, I know that some of these figures are not completely accurate, so I want to be able to replace values on the table. So the first thing that I want to do is to choose the table as the right sheet, and I'm going to keep a couple of fields that will enable me to reference what I'm writing about. So in this case, I'm going to keep all the dimensions that exist on this sheet because I want to replace values per cell. So now I need to give it a dataset name, and I'm going to call it sales fixed because that's the measure that we are going to replace. And now I can set up the fields that will show up on the form. So I'm going to call it new sales. This is the most important, the figure that we want to submit. And it's going to be a numeric. For this particular case, I know that this might have arisen from an error. So I also want to have an error status to be submitted. And I want this to be a drop-down. So I could go here and configure a predefined where I can type in the values. But I know that this particular error status is used across many dashboards. So instead, I'm going to use a dynamic predefined. It means that basically I can pick up a Tableau parameter that is a list and use it on my write-back settings. So the dropdown is driven by a parameter. Finally, I want to have a comment as text. So let's submit and see what it happens. Okay, that's it. We got the write-back button. I can click on a cell, click on add data, and I get the form exactly as I expected. If you remember, I chose to keep the 3 dimensions. I can submit sales. The error status that I haven't typed in is coming from the Tableau parameter. So in this case, it's medium. And I can type in my comment and submit. So although I have write-back running, this isn't the ideal situation. I have a simple form that I want to display. So maybe I could make it in line on the dashboard. And I know that I only want the comments if it's something urgent. Otherwise, I don't need the users to place the comment. So let's improve this configuration. So I can always get back to the configuration, click on configure. And let's do a second iteration. Let's improve it further. So the first thing is I only want the comment to be displayed if error status is urgent. So I can actually specify a condition for this field to show up. Write-back is going to do the autocomplete for me. And I can type in the formula, similar to what you would do on a table calculation, but limited for conditions. And this way, the comment is only going to be displayed when the error status is urgent. Okay, so the first change that I wanted to do is done. Now, let's make it in line on the dashboard. I just need to go here, check this box, inline, edit dataset, and that's it. Now we have a better experience. And by the way, this is one of the new features on 3.0. So now we allow forms to be embedded, and it's a click. So you can always choose in between these two. Okay, the pop-up or the inline form. It just depends on the use case that you want to follow. So now I have already submitted, let me just get back here. So I have already submitted an entry for December, but let's submit another one, 200. If I choose urgent, I get the comment and I can type in the comment, submit. Okay, so now we can see here that we have 2 entries submitted for the same mark. But the thing is, if I'm replacing a value, I don't want to keep replacing it over and over. This can make my calculations more complex behind the scenes. So I want a one-on-one relationship between the existing data and write-back data. So I'm going to delete one of these. Okay, make sure that I only have one. And I'm going to get back to the configuration. Besides that, I don't want this title to be add data. I want it to be like fixed sales, something that the users will understand. So let's do one more iteration on configuration. So the first aspect that I discussed is I don't want people submitting 2 entries at the same time. So I can check unique entries. Whenever I choose this option, write-back is going to make it mandatory to have only one entry, one manual entry associated with the original data. This warning is basically letting me know that if we have multiple entries, we cannot really delete. It won't be deleted. Okay. So I'm going to click, so we have fixed the unique entries, and now I'm going to replace the value. So let's fix sales. And I'm also going to choose the color and maybe reduce the size a little bit of the title. So now if I click on edit dataset, we have the title, the color of the buttons. This is more integrated with my dashboard and becomes easier to use for the users. Okay. So now I can actually start submitting a couple more values. So I'm adding in January, I don't think it was 18. I think it was just 10,000. And it's something medium. I'm not really concerned about it. Okay. So the thing is, I am submitting data, but nothing is happening on the dashboard. So how do I connect the write-back data with my existing data? Okay, so let's do it. So I could use a couple of options like data blending. In this case, I'm going to edit the existing data source and use Tableau relationships. I'm not sure if you came across this, but Tableau relationships enable us to mash up data from different sources or from a single source, even if there isn't a direct join, if you don't have a one-to-one relationship. This makes it really flexible, and that's why I'm going for this method. So what I'm going to do is to connect to my write-back data, which is on a completely different repository, in this case, from the original data, which is coming from Excel. And I'm going for Postgres. Here, I'm going to connect to my write-back database. But the thing is, this could be, and we are going to see what technologies are available, but this would be your database, and it can be from a different technology. You don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to sign in. I have to click. Okay. And now we can see the sales fix here. Okay, and we can preview the table. So what this table has in here is the fields that we have configured coming from Tableau, like category, region, and also here the month order date, plus the fields that the user is typing in, like new sales, so the fields on the form, comment, and the error status. So the table was created exactly as my configuration. No hard work. You just set it up and it's running. An important column that is here is the isActive column. So with write-back, you always get an audit to say who did what, and that's why we never delete data. We just invalidate the rows and state that it's false. If we want to look at the audit, we have the historical audit table, which is going to register who inserted the data, at which time. All that information is available in here. And if I want, I can join this table with the data set, and I get the complete information, the data, together with who did it. So now let's cross-reference the sales fix table with our existing data. So I want to make sure that we use the three main business keys that we have chosen, the three dimensions that we have chosen. So category is going to match with category. Region is going to match with region on this side. And I also want to join, sorry, not this one. I'm going to put here the region, close. And finally, we also need to join by month. So for month, I know that this is created as a float. So I'm going to submit the month as an expression and make sure that it becomes an integer. This way, I can go on my existing data and create an expression that is picking up the month from the order date. Okay. So this way, it doesn't really matter if we are using complex relationships or anything. What it matters is that I need to keep the relevant business keys on write-back. This will give me the right granularity, and then I can connect to my existing data and make sure that the relationship is established. Once I have this done, I can now, let me just rename this so that it becomes easier. Sales fix. Okay. So once I have this done, I have the relationship that I needed. Now I can get back to my table. And now I could start building on top of this. The first thing that I want to do is to make sure that if I'm fixing something, I want to display the original data unless I have something to replace with, some manual input to replace. So I'm going to create a really simple formula, create calculated field, sales fixed. And this formula is basically an if null. So all I'm saying is if the sum of new sales, meaning the field that is provided by write-back, is null, I'm going to display the original data and close the parentheses. So a very simple formula that is just mashing up the data. And this combination of formula and the relationship means that now I can actually place it on my table and place it as well on the colors. Okay. So you can already see that we have here the 10,000 for January, the 2010 for December. Okay. We just need to bear in mind that, as I mentioned earlier, so we want to make sure that we filter by null, which is the original data, and the rows on write-back that are active. If we keep the false ones, we would also get the deleted data, which is just for auditing purposes. Okay. So once I do this, I get the correct figure. And now I can get back to my dashboard, and the data is immediately being updated. Okay. So I can type in medium, and Oh, I forgot to configure the auto refresh. But if I configure the auto refresh, the data is immediately updated. Okay, so all these options can be combined, auto refresh. You don't really have to follow this. You have seen the different iterations. It's really up to you to use the right options according to your use case. And in the end, you can achieve a very good experience for your users. Another important thing is that the data is always separated. So this gives you the best of both worlds. Fully control on the data that is manual and meshing up with the automatic data. So now I could publish this dashboard and make it available for the viewers. And basically anyone with access on the server to the dashboard could submit information. So now, with this, we have seen how a creator can use writeback. So now, just a quick look on how it works, okay? And then we go for the manager. So we can see in here, we started with the viewer on the Tableau server, and then we went for the dashboard creator that created a new table on the writeback data set and was able to merge with the existing data and display it. In this case, it was on the Tableau desktop, but it could have also been on the Tableau server. So the only thing that we are missing on this picture is to take a look on the administration. Writeback Manager is a separate tool where we can apply and configure settings for writeback on a web UI. So let's take a quick look over there. So whenever you install writeback, as soon as you finish, you'll be redirected to localhost. This will be running on the server where you have installed writeback. And you can use the username from the server, in this case, it's my name, to log in on writeback. So it's always on writeback manager. It's always the user from the operative system. Once you log in here, you see the different settings that are available on the left menu. And you always have a help. This will give you some guidance on what you need to do on each step. Here, you can do the basic settings like pasting the license. If you want to look for the license, you can click on the link and go to our website to get the trial. And most importantly, you can also click on apply settings or load the previous configuration so that the changes that you have done on manager take effect on writeback. Finally, you have the page for using writeback where you can download the T-Rex files and give them to the users, the creators. And you can also watch the demo videos or even get the sample workbook. All this is available in here and even the more advanced configuration. We support multiple authentication types with single sign-on or manual authentication. You can configure multiple sites. So all this is now available on the Tableau Manager. So the life of people administrating the server and managing has become much more easier. Let's just get back to the presentation. Okay, another important aspect on this is that the upgrades from now on will be done inside the installer. For the existing customers which didn't have writeback manager, we are already working to streamline the upgrade process. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to support and we will help you out. We are just preparing it to make it more streamlined and make it easier to upgrade existing customers. So finally, in terms of packaging, writeback is provided as a yearly subscription based on the number of users. The users that count are the writeback users, so creators that will configure dashboards and viewers that will submit information. All the information that is needed is available on our manuals and also on the service desk if you need support. So we'll be sending these presentations that has all the links that you might need. If you want to do a trial, just go on our website, click on Let Me Try Now. It will give you the instructions to get the installer, run it, and then you go for the manager to place the license that is provided. So it's now a very quick process that you can do to try it on your own environment and start playing around with your use cases. Just 2 slides. So these are, we currently have customers across completely different industries. These are the ones that we have been able to obtain a quote. So this one is from Rotex that is using Writeback on the production floor so that the supervisors can provide inputs about the shifts and what happened. And this really made their lives a lot easier because they can input data straight from Tableau. And we have another example, which is from Lind. Lind has been doing their forecasting. Now it hasn't been for 6 months, it's more for 1 year. They have been doing their forecasting with Writeback using the exact table that I've shown with more than 250 people submitting data. And the process for them was really changing because they were able to start doing forecasting every month rather than having to do the forecasts only per quarter because the context was really complex, you know, mashing up all the Excels. The process was much more complex. So Writeback streamlined and enabled them to increase frequency on that. So we still have a few minutes for Q&A. So let me check. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions. Feel free to shout. So one of the questions that we have here is like, what's the starting price for Writeback? The Writeback starts on $2,750, and it's for the 50 users tier. Okay, and then we increase the tiers on the number of users, like 100, 150, and basically the license gets with a lower value per user, but you know the overall price increases a little bit. Another question that we have here is, how can I manage the permissions? Okay, the permissions can be managed by publishing the dashboard. So basically, whenever you publish the dashboard on the Tableau server, you can use the Tableau server permissions to use that, to basically constrain the access. So the access is constrained on the Tableau server. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the webinar. Okay, it was a real pleasure to be here. Get in touch if you have any questions. The support team is always ready to help you.
Sorry,
or if you have any commercial questions.
To let you know that you have 2 questions on the question panel.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me.
Sorry.
Can you send it over? Oh, yeah. Now it showed up. Yeah. Can the entries on the historical audit be manipulated or deleted afterwards? How long are the entries stored? Okay. So what happens is the entries on the historical audit are kept forever by default. Okay. But the thing is, you can have an external procedure that can delete them. They are not really necessary. So we don't have a mechanism to clean it out of the box, but you can actually do it on your own. And it's very easy because the table is never going to change the table structure. So it's very easy to work on that. I'm not sure. Anna, do you know if we have a second question because I got these two questions together. Is there any other?
I sent it through the chat.
Okay, so let me check this one again. Okay, this one, yeah, this is the one that I have already answered. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I think, is it possible to change the original MySQL, MES SQL data? Okay, so the thing is, if you want to use write-back together with Microsoft SQL, what you have to do is you should create a new schema on your database. That schema is going to be used by write-back. So you can go on the manager and provide the connection details for the schema, the user. And what it's going to happen is write-back is going to start inserting the manual data on your SQL Server instance. Okay, so it won't overlap your original data. Imagine that you would set up on top of your ERP or an important system. You wouldn't want the data to be overlapped immediately. So what you should do is create a schema for write-back, and then, like I did on the demo, create a relationship that is going to mash up the manual data with your existing data, and you can make it look like the data is being replaced. And that's for the user in terms of UI. On the other hand, if you want to have like a backend procedure that actually replaces the data, my advice is that you should have validation on top of that backend procedure, and you can create it on your own. It's not provided out of the box, but if you, on the configuration, if you always keep the same set of fields, the tables created by write-back will always remain with the same structure. So you can create any store procedures or backend procedures on top of that. Okay. I hope I've answered your question. Okay, so I think we don't have any other questions. So again, it was a pleasure to be on this webinar. I hope you enjoyed, and get in touch, okay? And don't forget, write back, input data right now. Thank you.